Listen, you are the largest personal injury attorney in Kentucky, but you didn't always you weren't always that way. You weren't born that way, right? So the biggest thing I want to ask you, and I want to give you I want to give all the people in this room some motivation, is when your firm started, what were some of the biggest challenges and fears that you faced when you were launching your law firm?
Well, I didn't launch my firm the way a lot of people do. When you flunk the bar twice and you're like almost last in your class, no one was knocking my door down for me to come work for them. But I will tell you, I've always been an entrepreneur. When I was 6, 7 years old, I'm going in the neighborhood. My dad would drive to Krispy Kreme at 50-cent dozen. I'd started getting 10 dozen, went and sold them in like 10 minutes, so we went back, and then I'm up to 100 dozen. So I've always made money. I love marketing. I mean, two things I love in this world, my family, and I love to market. But I think the biggest challenge is you have to say, I can do this. I never questioned that I couldn't do it. I was very blessed. During law school, part of why I wasn't a great student is, like, my first week I cut class to go watch a personal injury trial. And I sat through second chair 22 jury trials with a famous criminal attorney, and I didn't want to do criminal law, but he also allowed me to, his name was Dave Kaplan, he's deceased, but he allowed me to work on about 300 car wreck cases during law school. So when I came out, I knew what I had to do and I wanted to do. So the biggest challenge is you have to, I mean, like y'all are talking about change, everything they said I could relate to. Nothing's going to happen unless you decide it's going to happen, and only you decide. So if, just like David said, I mean, you're going to do it, you will do it.
Absolutely. Now, one thing that I know about you is that you spend you invest a lot in personal development. Not just the money, but actually the time for personal development. And you know, it's funny because we had an interview with you on the Mastermind show a couple weeks ago, and you were interviewing, and all of a sudden Mike Morse walks up behind you. You know what I mean? Like, so can you talk a little bit about the importance that the role that personal development has played in your life, and kind of how much you invest, either monetary or time-wise, either or, in personal development?
Well, mentorship's always important because, you know, just like y'all are mentoring these people. I early on had mentors. I studied all the great PI attorneys, and even now, you laugh, I'm driving. I flew to Tampa this morning from Kentucky, and I'm 10 minutes in my car, and Mike calls. Okay. He found out I just hired a social media person, and, you know, the great thing about Mike is he wants to get in front of everybody. He's a visionary. So what I did after, I had a bad accident in 2015. I mean, I broke my neck. I got hit by a car. I'm going to have my 11th surgery next month. And, you know, I'll just be candid. There was 8 days I'm lying in the hospital. They didn't know if I was going to walk again. So I had this little pact with God. If you let me walk, I will go help everybody and their mother. Because I think the more you help people, the more you get. So from a mentorship, I started these groups, and, you know, I was in a neck brace for 3 months. I got tired. So we all flew to Vegas, and about 5 or 6 law firms, and we all put on a presentation. Next thing you know, the next day, they go, Darryl, you're going to lead it. I don't know how I got roped into it, but I've been doing it. And so these firms mentor me, and I, in turn, mentor other people. So, and all you got to do is ask. I mean, you know, you can get anything in this world if you help enough people get what they want. But if you don't ask, like, how can, you know, I tell, you know, we have 30 attorneys who work at our firm, and I tell everybody, if you can't ask for money, how are you going to get the case resolved? So don't be afraid to ask. Since my last speech, Miss Deidre is from Indiana, and she texted me, can I mentor her? Absolutely. I mean, you know, all you have to do is ask. You never know. All they can do is say no. So, you know, the other day, I think one of the top 5 trial attorneys in the world called me and wanted me to help with marketing, and I, in return, said, I will do it if you allow to. I have 10 litigators, and, you know, I sent them all over the country, and this past November they got a $10 million verdict, and then I printed 110 billboards. So I polarized the defense firms, and what ends up happening is no one wants to lose to a TV attorney. So, but the way we've got good is by mentorship. So, gentlemen, I don't know if y'all heard of Rex Parrish, but I mean, he's only got a $350 million verdict, 150, goes on and on and on. He's putting on this trial clinic in, I think, a week after Easter, and wants me to help. And I said, I will help, but I get to send my 10 and any attorney in my 30 groups that want to come, ask. I mean, you never know. All they can do is say no. You have to ask.
Fantastic. Where would you say you would be if you didn't have all these mentors and you didn't have people helping you?
I mean, I don't know what the alternative is. From day one, I've had a mentor. So, the gentleman that David Kaplan tried a capital murder case in 38 states, and my first week working with him, he tried a real estate case where they sued his client. Basically, this big corporation sued him, and David counterclaimed for $2,000 that he had paid into court, and that was his fee. But for a week, and David won, and I was bit. I mean, I loved trying cases. I wanted to market. I wanted to do everything, but I wouldn't be where I'm at today without mentors.
Fantastic. So let's shift to marketing for a little bit. And actually, what's cool is that I was able to spend an entire day with you a couple months ago, and you brought your entire marketing team down. Right. And that's something that's very important that I want to point out is that it wasn't just you; it was you and 6 other people, I think, that came down. It was a lot of people.
Sure,
and
160.
Yeah, it might have been 10. I'm not sure. But why is it important that it's not just you? And there's a lot of people that are they know they need to hire somebody, they know they need to build a team, but they're also kind of little bit of anxiety about taking that next step. What would you say about that and the importance of taking that first step?
Well, I'm really nobody without my team. I'm very blessed. I have 6 or 7 of my management team. I have a marketing department. Everything I do, I mean, my marketing director, she's involved, and then, we hire, we discuss, we do everything together, and that in turn allows me you got to delegate. I mean, now I still take calls. I give everybody my cell number. Last night, 10 at night, I'm signing up a $1 million case on my cell that, you're always selling. So, but you have to delegate, and you just can't do it yourself. And so after my accident, my doctor, and I'll share something with y'all. I mean, I'm not ashamed. I have a TBI as well. So, but I'm very high capacity, very functioning. And what TBI is a traumatic brain injury. And so I don't know what type of doctor I call my brain doctor, but he's like, you got to get help. So then I started hiring people to help me. And that was the greatest thing I did. I mean, I think when I started, we were spending $2 million a year. Now we're spending $12 million a year on advertisement. And it's all my team. Yeah. So it's not me. I mean, it's my vision. This is what I want to do, but I have help to implement it.
So you're spending $12 million a year right now on advertising. So Bill made a question. Bill wanted me to ask you this. If you suddenly dropped and next month you spent only $20,000 on advertising, what would happen to your law firm?
I don't know. I'm not going to do it.
There you go. He doesn't want to find out.
Until I die, I'm going to market. I love marketing, and
yeah. Well, let me ask you this: How do you come up with the number 12 million? How do you know the 12 millions, or why not 10 million? Why not 14 million? How do you figure that out?
Well, it's not that I said I want to spend this. I have a couple accountants, but one of them's my older brother. He's retired. He was a CEO of a company, and he got bored. So I have 3 brothers. There's 3 of us that are lawyers. One's a CPA lawyer, but one's an engineer lawyer. But I've always teased them. I was a finance major, and I always called them the bean counters. I would make the money, and y'all figure out how to. So in a nutshell, he gives me a budget. I think this year, I think it was $6-7 million. I don't know the percent. Don't do what I do. I spend probably 40%. I think, what's the rule? 20, 15? Yeah. I don't know. But
20 usually.
So this week, I've spent $2 million I wasn't going to spend. I decided to do a radio campaign. We're going to try it. I mean, I'll try anything if it works. Great. I just bought some phone numbers for a ridiculous price. Yeah. But at the end of the day, what we do is we figure out, okay, what would we spend, and then we see where it goes. Like before COVID, we had 2,000 billboards. I think after COVID, we have about 800. So it just depends. I mean, I can't tell you exactly the formula, but I go with the gut. I try something. If it works, great. If not, we learn.
Fantastic. Can you think of a turning point where you got comfortable investing more money in marketing and taking more, maybe like bigger risks with your marketing, or was it a gradual increase, or how did that work for you?
It's competition.
Yeah.
Because when I started on TV in '96. There was maybe 3 or 4 attorneys, and you could put anything up and get cases. I think I'm in a couple states, and like one market, we might have 45 law firms on TV. So you got to stand out. But as the borders, as I call it, are getting closer, so basically everybody's reaching out because of the internet, and it's just easier. Now, like, we don't look for it, but we'll handle truck cases sometimes in 5 or 6 states away. And so competition coming in. But competition, I think, is good. It breeds success. You either survive, you thrive, or you survive, or you go out of business. So competition takes you to another level.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. So shifting back to your law firm and just kind of, how you run your entire business, what are the habits or the systems or the philosophies that you have found to really be game changers for your entire business?
Culture. You have to, so I don't care what type of law you practice. I don't care what type of business. If you have people working with you, I don't like to say employees. I like to say team members. We're all a team. In fact, I texted Bill. I just sent a long email. I was in the airport and on the plane for 2 hours. And, the theme, I do it every now and then, is we're all rowing in the same boat to make it work. So you have to get a culture. And then what is your culture? So you are the owner of the firm. You're the visionary. So then you have to implement your vision. And that's where you get people, just like all the time. I'm big in customer service because when I was younger, my first real job was 13. I was flipping burgers. And I thought it was the greatest job in the world. I'm making, $2, $3 an hour. It was awesome. But they did me a favor because back then, this was 1977, 8. They made us listen to Earl Nightingale tapes. And, you talk about these books. I'm telling you, you can get this stuff for free. Go on YouTube, Earl Nightingale, Zig Ziglar, Anthony Robbins. If you don't think it works, you won't believe what I'm saying. Because the customer's always right, and Earl Nightingale, I listened to that, and that was programmed in my head. And so when I started a law firm, it's all about the customer. You know the rule, if you don't take care of it, someone else will. Mm-hmm. So my culture, my vision, and then you get everybody to implement it, and you have to accept that maybe they're not going to be as good as you or care as much as you, but you can't do it all yourself.
Awesome. While you're running your law firm, when you've been growing your law firm, what is a failure that you're most proud of?
Well, this is where I'm glad I don't have partners because they would have fired me. 2 months before COVID, I signed a $1.5 million contract to do 90 buses. COVID hits, guess what? For 4 months, those buses were parked. Ooh. And, I look pretty silly. Mm. So, but I think the biggest lesson is you can't be afraid to fail. If you study history, look at how failures, I'm a big war nut history buff. Look at the Battle of the Bulge. We didn't think they could mount a comeback. And in fact, all Eisenhower's generals said, don't worry. And all of a sudden, here it comes. And instead of firing everybody, he said, this is a chance to end the war. And they ended the war within 12 months. So every time I make a decision, if we fail, like the bus, okay, I've learned from it. You have to think of a business as economies of scale. You throw everything together. Some work, some doesn't. And what doesn't work, you learn. And then you're that much better off. So you can't be afraid to fail. Like I say, I'm number one in is I fail more than anybody, but I get up and recover.
Yeah. It's funny. I learn more from my failures than I do from my successes.
Absolutely.
And my motto is fail fast. Do it. If we're gonna fail, let's jump in head first. We're gonna win. We're gonna fail, or we're gonna move on. So that's fantastic. Let me ask you this: what is one of the best or most worthwhile investments that you've ever made? It could be an investment of time. It doesn't even have to be money. But what would you say is one of the best or most worthwhile investments that you've ever made in yourself?
Well, there's a couple that come to mind. One is the back cover. I started practicing legally 1/1 of '93. Flunked the bar twice, so I was still working. I started working for my father, who was semi-retired. And once I passed the bar, within 12 months, I had bought this building, and there was an opportunity to be on the back cover of the phone book. And it was going to cost $1,500 a month, and my dad thought I was nuts. And I said, no, I got this. And I did it, and within 6 months, I got $1 million case from it. So I thought, man, everything works in advertisement, and that was a turning point. Then I went on TV about 3 years later, and that was a game changer. And, I've grew up, try to be very humble. Don't talk about what I can do. Let other people talk about you. But I decided I wanted my father, because, I was 27 or 8. He was 63 and had retired, came in retirement. I wanted him to be the face on the TV. And, we met with a marketing agency, and they kept saying, you got to be. And I thought, no, I'm too young. No one's, I look like a kid. So they convinced me to do it, and I was blown away within like 6 months. I think I had 300-400 cases. I couldn't handle it. And I don't think I hired an attorney for like 3 years where I did about 1,500 of my own. But, I'm working 90 hours a week. I mean, it's not a life I would recommend. But, going on TV was monumental, getting the back cover. There's so many things I could look back, but everything builds on success.
Awesome. And another thing is that you took a chance on yourself in actually going out there and being on camera. And even more recently, you've been working with our team to actually start recording videos, and you filmed tons of videos. And what's that process been like?
How bad was that video that day I did with you?
Well, okay,
it
so
sucked.
it was better. It was better
horrible.
than the first video I ever did. I'll tell you that
No.
much. But how's that been going for you? Because that's something that we talk about a lot, is filming videos. Are you getting more comfortable filming videos?
Yeah. So I've done thousands of commercials. Those are easy. You can stop, take, green screen. But these videos are kind of, when I say live, if you screw up, I kept wanting to reshoot and redo it. And I've done about 50, and I think only the last 4 or 5 I've done better. But the hardest thing is, look, no one wants to look in the mirror. No one wants to get on the scale. No one wants to see what they look like. So the last thing you want to do is see yourself on TV. I cringe when I see myself. Videos are the same way. It is hard to do them because you're putting yourself out there. But if I want to, let's say, we do a lot of truck litigation, and, how can I ask the public to hire me if they don't know what I'm offering? So you got to do videos, you got to do anything, and tell them what you want, and then help them find a way to hire you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so in the last few years, and obviously you've been practicing since the 90s, but over the last few years, what new beliefs or mindsets have you taken on that have really kind of gotten you to where you are now?
Mastermind groups.
Yeah.
You call it mentorship. I call it mastermind groups. Find out what other people are doing. It's funny, Mike Morris, at some point, he's going to give me a lot of crap because I call him Mars because I'm from Kentucky.
Yeah.
But Mike had an opportunity to join one of our groups, and I didn't know Mike from Adam. I read his book, Fireproof, and I thought it was amazing. And, again, you read stuff, had my brother CPA take his spreadsheets and, dissect it. And, but Mike got in, and I think he was a little, oh, my God, I can't believe it's this good. And that's the thing. These groups are so powerful. Earlier today, I was at the hotel, 12 o'clock. One of my groups, we did a Zoom call, and 10 law firms are on. Everybody's got ideas, and you're sharing. So... And you can do it yourself. You can get together with other attorneys or just talk shop. It's just the more you talk, because let's face it, I can't call my competitors and say, how do you handle this? Or how are you getting cases? So you get together with other firms or in other states, other markets, and we're not competitors. But I think the mastermind groups have they've taken my practice to another level.